You did catering at a time when Italian catering was pink sauce, white sauce, and red sauce pasta.
What makes you think it's different now?
Yeah. Well, not when you're catering.
What happens with expat chefs? They lose their perspective. They are trying so hard to please the local taste buds. That thin line just gets crossed.
And most of them are not very good cooks. If you're so brilliant, how come you couldn't get a job in your own country? Yeah,
I didn't say it. You said
but
it.
it's true, isn't it?
It is.
What made you come back and do Diva?
You seen those toys?
Yeah,
you
like-
hit them like that and they come back right
Yeah.
back. I'm like that. I needed to prove myself.
Indian weddings abroad, which spend hundreds of millions of dollars on the wedding. That's accurate.
They do. You may have amazing Michelin star chefs all around the world. But let me tell you, 95% don't know how to cater. And they fuck
Really?
it up big time.
While you've been very successful as a restaurateur, you've also been the leader of this new kind of cuisine, no?
I'm a good cook. I know that. Am I an extraordinary chef? No, I'm not. My biggest strength, I'm good at spotting talent.
So what did you learn?
Never overspend. Spend what you need in your kitchen and be prepared to only invest that much that you're willing to lose. You talk about my successes. You don't talk about my failures.
Which were your failures?
Oh, several.
You were one of the first people at the forefront of the campaign to give gay people their rights.
The next 4 years, actually, it was pure horror. Trolling, called all sorts of names on Twitter. Companies suddenly started questioning, by declaring yourself a homosexual, you are declaring to a crime. My pasta cooking doesn't really depend on who I've kissed that evening. I had the courage to go through it. Could I do it again? I'm not sure.
I think you probably could.
I am a Marwari and I can't escape my genes. I've embraced it very happily. If my balance sheet is not healthy, I'm doing something wrong. I need a restaurant which is sustainable.
So you can do Indian food.
Of course I can. I'm a genius.
Rolling. Hello and welcome to Table 1. My guest today is one of India's best known and most respected chefs. And while she's known for her food, which is of course entirely justified, we celebrate her for other things, for opening up the floor and opening up India to standalone restaurants, for giving women chefs breaks they wouldn't have got otherwise, and for her own courage in speaking up for rights. Please welcome Ritu Dalmia.
Thank you. Today, which side of the bed did you wake up? I
Why?
mean, to be so positive, so complimentary about me. I mean,
There's
honestly,
basically only one reason, which is you've flown many hours to do the shoot.
I know.
And you arrived early in the morning.
yes. So
And you've rolled out of bed and you're here in front of the cameras.
Yes.
So I can't help but be grateful
Yeah,
and
let's
lie
see
and
how-
say, and lie and say
and
good
let's
things
see
about
how
you.
this progresses in the next hour or so. I won't get my hopes too high, but thank you so much. That was very kind of you, Veer.
Well, you
At
have
the
to, you have
kindest
to
that you've
say
ever
these things on
been.
TV.
Yes,
Yeah. But
yes.
listen, you come from Milan
I've come from Milan, yes.
and you went there from Marrakesh.
From Marrakesh, yes.
And I read that you were impresarioing a wedding and that the wedding had like 600 staff and 41 teams from different great chefs.
About 41, yes.
Yes?
It was great fun. It was, I think, the best curation and best getting together of some of the best talents, known and unknown, worldwide.
That's really modest of you, but would you...
Well, you started this. I said,
I didn't
okay,
say it was one of the best.
let me roll, with the
But
wave.
tell me who some of the chefs were.
So my favorites, if you want to know,
Yeah.
was Piku, Mr. Merchant from Goa.
Yeah.
I mean, he was spectacular.
His proper name is, we all call him because Rahul
Rahul
Gomes
Gomes. Yeah,
Pereira.
but he's
He's an
Piku.
extraordinary chef.
Yeah, his shots could be a little bit longer when he does his podcasts,
He does podcasts?
Yeah, and to Goa, and shots are a little bit tighter and a little bit shorter, but I love him. I adore him.
That just means you've been looking. Go on.
Yes.
Yes.
Pia Leon was there, who was brilliant.
Who's a South American?
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
But again, some of the old favorites like Da Vittorio is the one who stole everyone's heart.
No, Davitorio is one of the world's greatest restaurants.
Yes, it is.
3 Michelin stars for God
Yes.
knows how long.
Yes.
Pakeri, the world
Yes,
talks about.
Pakeri, the most overpriced Pakeri in the world.
But very famous
But
Pakeri.
very famous Pakeri, yes. No, and a lot of people from India, Raja Rasa from Jaipur was there.
Which I've heard is very good.
Very, very good. Young chef, Prateek, a lot of research, a lot of talent. And what's nice is, with the Marwadis, it's always a Surja Maharaj or a, Nemi Chand Maharaj. So you have a Rajasthani food which was a little bit with different flair, more
But this
nice.
guy is also Marwadi, the Raja?
No, they are Rajasthani.
Proper Rajasthani.
Proper Rajasthani, not the fake
Not like
ones
Marwadis
us.
like you, okay.
Come on, we are Shekhavatis.
Yeah,
We
sure.
just like to call ourselves from Marwad. Gives us a little bit higher.
Okay, who else?
Hang on, I'm really jet lagged. Then Doma Wang was there.
Oh, she's wonderful.
Yeah,
Isn't she?
Sienna.
Did she make her momos?
She made her momos, 3 different types of momos every day, serving them 24 hours a day from
she's
13 to
incredible.
70. But for me, I was proudest of Koel from
Koel Nandi?
Koel Nandi.
She's really the chef of the future.
Yeah,
no?
can I tell you, she's an ex-diva girl. So I'm
But despite that, she's the chef of the future.
Oh, come on, I'm leaving.
But everybody in Sienna has had a stint with you. Even that Aruni worked
Yes,
for you
correct.
for
But
2
Koel,
weeks. For 2 weeks or
2
something.
weeks.
Yeah.
3 weeks.
3 weeks. All right.
Koel worked for many years and I
Yeah.
was very sad to see her go because one knew that she had talent. And what I love about her, she's not trying to be the so-called modern India or modern Bengali. The flavors are hardcore Bengali. It's just what I love is the presentation part and the way she's creating her dishes together. I mean, you may call it a risotto, but for me, it's a Gobind Bhog khichdi with potol on top. So when you take the bite, it may look like that. And you say, hang on, I know this taste. This
But
taste
you've
is...
grown up in Calcutta, so
I've
you
grown
would.
up, yes.
So you know the
So I'm
difference between the
partial
real
also.
thing and the bullshit.
Yes, and
no?
I'm also partial.
Sienna is a great restaurant.
Yes, and
Both of them. Sienna's only one of the 2 chefs. Both of them are outstanding.
Abhinandan is also
outstanding.
Both of them, as I said. And last night, I just finally was messaging to everyone, thanking them. And when you hear from people like Koel and all that how Diva shaped them, I think it's
In a good way. Okay, just checking.
Okay, I need some tequila now. Okay, I need to spike my drink if I have to go through. Okay, I'm not going to talk about it.
The point I was making is that while you've been very successful as a restaurateur, you've also been the leader of this new kind of cuisine, no? Where you're a sort of impresario. You gather the world's best chefs and you do events for rich Indians, you've done at least one British Society wedding that I know of, but I will preserve the anonymity of your clientele. I think I can talk about the Google event, which you do every year.
Also signed an NDA, but it's been 11 years now, so I don't know how much that holds. But yes, I think, again, don't be mean, but I promise you, it's really a compliment when they bring an Indian chef to do Italian food in Sicily.
Absolutely.
Okay? What shall I say? No, but can I say something?
Yeah.
And now I've got my modesty hat on, but also an honest hat on. I'm a good cook. I know that. Am I an extraordinary chef? No, I'm not. And I know that about myself for many years.
Why would you say that? Because I think you're an extraordinary chef.
No, I'll tell you, I think my biggest strength today is I'm good at spotting talent.
Yes, that you are.
And that is a bigger strength. So will I be one of those chefs who will ever be in any of the fancy lists? Never. Never been and never will be. And nor do I aspire that. Because don't forget.
You are aware that you were on the Culinary Culture top 30 till you asked
yes,
us
I
to
know,
take
and
you.
I'm very...
And you said, take me off
Yeah,
because younger people should get a chance.
I agree that. And I think it's absolutely correct. But as I said, I know my limitations. And maybe also I am not willing to stand in the kitchen 16 hours a day anymore. I'm too old for that. Secondly, yes, there might be a creative side to me, but there's also a business side to me.
You are a Marwadi, sir.
I am a Marwadi and I can't escape my genes.
Sure.
And I realize...
And why should you? It's good.
I've embraced it very happily. I've realized for me, restaurants have to have long-term sustainability. And that can happen only when my guests come back once or twice a month and not once a year for an experience. And all our restaurants have been formatted that way.
Yeah.
Because for me, especially after a time like COVID, if my balance sheet is not healthy, I'm doing something wrong. I may get a lot of satisfaction from my ego per se, but I need a restaurant, as I said, which is sustainable, which is value for money, good price, good product, but not something which is just a celebration based restaurant.
There must be about 5 or 6 foodies who don't know the Ritu Dalmia story, but I'll tell it anyway. Ritu Dalmia grew up in a business family, a vegetarian business family in Calcutta. Decided she loved cooking, decided she was going to make her own way as a chef, turned her back on the family business, went to London, opened a very successful restaurant called Vama, is that correct? Worked and learned at all the best restaurants. Like, wasn't a single Italian restaurant of any consequence she didn't go to. Came back to India, opened her first restaurant, which was, I think, a little before its time.
And you were there in the first week.
Yeah, I was there because the food was outstanding.
Thank you.
Yeah. What was it called?
Diva?
No.
Before that, Mezzaluna.
Mezzaluna is the one I remember.
Yeah, that was
because
before
you opened it in Hoskas or something.
Correct, 1993.
93, it was way ahead of its time.
Yes.
But it was really outstanding.
Yes. And it didn't work, so I had to shut shop in a year's time. But as I always say, it was my Harvard Business School.
Yep. And then you came back and opened Diva.
Yes.
Which opened in which year?
1999 end.
Okay, now, people may not realize the significance of Diva, but the significance is not the food. The significance is, of course, the food was very good. Of course, the service was very good. But it was an era when 5-star hotels ruled. And you were attracting people away from 5-star hotels because your food was so good.
It was right time, right place also, I
don't
would
be
say.
modest. Don't be modest. It doesn't suit you.
Okay, I tried. Thank God. Thank God. Okay, it's over and done with. Done.
Doesn't suit you, not convincing. But what made Diva different, I thought, was that 5-star hotels and places like that, and later the standalones that followed 10 years later, would look for great chefs, would pinch them with them. In the case of Diva, all your cooks, everybody has been promoted from the bottom.
Yes.
You may start off as a dishwasher, but you may end up cooking a fabulous risotto within 5 years because Ritu has taught you.
Well, as I said before, now that you've said modesty doesn't suit me, spotting talent has been my biggest asset.
But also, you don't give yourself enough credit for training people.
But it is something which I do well. And this is something, if I ever have to do anything else in my life, I think I want to train and teach. So this Italian Cultural Center restaurant, for example, Govind, who's
we're trying to do this bit by
sorry.
bit.
Yeah, okay.
Rushing ahead,
Okay, sorry.
So Diva was a success.
Yes.
And while Diva was a success, many rich people who came to your restaurant said, can you cater for us at home? So you set up catering division.
Yes, started with 5 people, 8 people. If I did one today, that means for next 10 days, I couldn't do anything.
Right.
We would close the restaurant, Diva in the night, turn the dining room into a makeshift kitchen and make little panzarotis out there on the table, all to be clean for lunch tomorrow. And honestly, I think it's the best thing that could have happened to us, the catering part.
But also, I mean, people, I say you did catering, but you did catering at a time when Italian catering, if people's homes, no matter how rich they were, was pink sauce, white sauce and red sauce pasta.
What makes you think it's different now?
Well, not when you're catering.
Zip it up.
Not when you're catering. I remember being startled because in those days, most Indian chefs had never seen a real truffle. You in catering were taking out things like pizza bianca, whatever it's called, and grating truffles on them. You really went top level and you were the caterer of choice.
Yeah, but there's another word for it. It's called being an idiot.
Why?
Okay, because I have realized one thing in my life today, and I'm older, wiser, so I can say it. I never want to be an inventor anymore. I want to be an innovator. Let other people make their mistakes. I should learn from their mistakes because I actually paid a heavy price for it.
Why? Your catering was so successful.
My catering took a long time to be successful. But as I said, the first year we bought truffles. I ate it all up and I think I may have even begged you to come and please finish it off before it all turns into shit.
That's a funny story because in those days, white truffles were unknown in India. And I remember there was a restaurant, I think Travertino at the Oberoi, run by the Osler Hotel. And there was a chef and a manager from there. And I took a white truffle in. And it was like they all stood together at attention and
Yes.
sang the Italian national
Oh
anthem.
my God.
Because they'd never had that kind of experience before. Nobody brought them. I took them to a hotel restaurant, Bombay, which I will not name. And the chef came to me and said, "Can I take the whole truffle for a while?" So I said, "Why?" He said, "I want to gather all the chefs in the kitchen
Yes.
because we've never seen a truffle."
Yes. Yes.
This is the stage when you were doing truffles
I know.
routinely at Diva
That's what I'm
and doing
saying,
them
an
in catering.
idiot. I'm an idiot. That's why. But it paid
But-
off in long term.
But you also sold them at reasonable prices to the extent that a truffle can ever be reasonable. But you didn't have these huge hotel markups.
I couldn't sell it. If I did, even with the wines, it was the same story. Again, it was ego. I wanted to have an amazing wine cellar. Diva opened within 2 years. I had 490 labels.
Before you continue showing off, I was going to come to the wine next.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Culinary culture
the
people, what have you put me up against?
The other thing that Diva did, which was very unusual in those days, was that it had a huge wine cellar and had many, many Italian wines, which people had never heard of or seen, again at very competitive prices. And for instance, Tignanello,
Yes.
which we once drank on camera.
Oh my God. 2 bottles.
Yeah, well, you gave them to me.
I know. I the first time I ever drank actually every time I've drunk in the restaurant is because of your bad behavior and you corrupted me. And yes, we did drink 2 bottles of Tignanello together.
On camera, on TV show, yeah?
And
For
giggling away
Discovery or
like,
something, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so we're losing our thread. That was one of Ritu's other contributions. It started a revolution, A, in catering, B, in restaurants, because nobody had the idea of a neighborhood restaurant that could be better than a 5-star hotel restaurant, and C, Italian food. Nobody had eaten Italian food of that quality.
Yeah. Yeah. I think my name should go down in history. What do you think?
I think it already has.
Yes. No,
But can I just ask, you started this once with Mezzaluna and failed. What made you come back and do Diva?
have you seen those toys, those plastic toys? Those bouncy ones?
Yeah,
You
like-
hit them like that and they come back right
Yeah.
back. I'm like that.
Really?
Okay. So, Mezzaluna's failure was too much for me to take. I needed to prove myself. I went to London, proved myself with Mama, but I still hadn't proven myself with Italian food, which was my first love and still is my first love. And again, now I'm not being modest, but it is the truth. Times had changed in India between 93 and 2000. I came back from London. I didn't know what to do. I tried to open a brewery, believe it or not. I thought, okay, I'm an industrialist by birth, by nature, so maybe I should forget about all these restaurant shit and just try to open. I took a joint venture with Whitbread, bought a piece of land.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And by that time, Whitbread was the owner of the Heineken brand as well. Stella Artois, their regular Whitbread. Karjat purchased a land, took a loan from IDBI for 30 odd crore rupees. And then I got the shits. I said, am I really cut out for this? Everything that I'd escaped. And that overnight, the decision changed. I sold everything. Now what do? I don't know anything else. I've never done anything else. So Diva was a default because of lack of having any other better idea of what I can do with my life. I was already in 1999, 27-year-old. So at that time, 27 was already being over the hill in this career. So that's how Diva opened. And I think, as I said, it was the right time. The price was okay. The valuation was okay. GK2 used to be a beautiful market that time. Ample parking, lots of greenery around. So Diva took off from day one. And I think it was God's way of saying, okay, enough punches for you. I'll give you one little tiny taste of success before you give up 100%. And I'm very lucky. People who came to Diva in 1999 are people who still come to Diva, but with their grandchildren. So yesterday I met someone at the airport, a very famous chef today now, in fact, part of your culinary culture, Advait from India.
From India, yeah.
Yeah. And he says, my mummy used to take me to Diva when we used to come to Delhi. I wanted to give him 2 tight slaps, basically for trying to tell me that I'm super old. Is that what you're trying to?
I think he probably meant it sincerely.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
So I had to, okay, and said, thank you so much. Please give my regards to your mother, best wishes for her. So in a way, it's also very nice because if you can maintain and have your guest base, as you said, to a neighborhood restaurant,
Yeah.
I think that's what I wanted to achieve. And thankfully, I have achieved that.
But there were other restaurants after Diva as well. Right?
Several.
So tell us about some of them.
What happened during Diva time is there were no chef-run restaurants per se. There were very few
I'm trying to think if there's anything else that was chef run in Delhi.
Not in Delhi, but Mumbai, Rahul
There was Indigo and Rahul
Same
Akerkar
year.
in Bombay the same year. Yeah?
Same year. So it's a very funny story. The year he opened Under the Over, I opened Mezzaluna.
And that Under the Over was also a neighborhood restaurant.
Yeah, didn't work. Mezzaluna didn't work. 1999 Indigo, Diva. We never got the success.
Indigo was grander, whereas
that's
Diva
what I'm
was
saying.
very clearly
Little
a
baby
neighborhood trattoria.
Exactly. Didn't have, and also, again, old Marwadi mentality, didn't want to borrow money.
Yeah.
Wanted to make with whatever we had. So even with grand plans, it was not an option for me. So we spend what we could spend rather than, having a big bar, and it worked.
But you remember that era, the only other chefs who got, people were just beginning to write about chefs. The only other chefs people wrote about were like the hotel chefs.
So, you are basically now fishing, Vir.
No, I'm not fishing.
You are fishing.
I'm going to ask you about the second restaurant.
No, you are fishing because
I know where you're going,
started giving restauranteurs some credit for their chefs. So, yes, we do admit on camera that, yes, Mr. Sanghvi, you were the one who started, who appreciated and who recognized individual chef-run restaurant. Thank you so much.
That's very kind of you, but it's not entirely true. So what was the second restaurant?
The second restaurant for me or the other restaurants that came up?
No, for Diva, after that, what did you
Italian Cultural Center. So Diva opened in 1999 and 2002, we were approached by the Italian embassy.
So that's always intrigued me, that the Italian embassy, and the Italians are very proud and possessive of their cuisine, chose for their own parties to do their own catering.
Yes.
Even when their own heads of state came.
Yes.
Diva. And then they asked you to set up a restaurant in their own cultural center where many people from the embassy would come and eat. So obviously they were impressed by the authenticity.
Well, they didn't have a choice. They went and tried food with every Italian chef that was in the city, including the hotels. And the thing is, I don't mean it as any disrespect, but what happens with expat chefs, whether it's Italian, Asian, people who travel from country to country, they haven't been back to their country for God knows 20 years, 30 years, whatever. And somewhere they lose their perspective. They are trying so hard to please the local taste buds that thin line just gets crossed over. So the Italians, they went and tried everywhere.
I'll stick with this expat chef thing. It's true, isn't it? The idea that if you want to open an Italian restaurant, you get a guy who may have been from, say, Lombardy or somewhere in this youth, but has come from a Meridian in Phuket and gone to Sheraton in Manila.
Or a Bangkok.
And has gone to Novotel in Dubai, and he'll come and cook real Italian food for you. It's frankly an absurd idea.
It's an absurd idea, but don't forget, we were obsessed with expat chefs.
Yeah, we were.
We were. The minute you heard an Italian name or a French name, wherever that guy came from, it didn't matter. Because there was just this fascination that if he is a Gora, excuse my saying that, or if he's from, and this was something.
You can say Gora, it's all right.
Yeah.
You can say Firangi also.
It was just that, okay, he must be God's gift to mankind. And the hotels actually started it. Yeah. The hotel started it. And today, honestly, if you ask any hotel, I'm sure they're going to say it. They need to also start promoting their local chefs than trying to bring a Gora in to run the hotel, because they don't understand the language. They don't understand the mentality. They haven't had a taste of their own food for God knows how many years. So why waste that money?
And most of them are not very good cooks. I mean, there's the obvious question to ask all expat chefs. If you're so brilliant, how come you couldn't get a job in your own country?
Yes. Yeah. I didn't say it. You said
it. But it's true, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. Why do you have to go to Phuket to get a job?
Absolutely. Also, they get used to the wonderful life of the third world, so-called third world, right?
Yeah. I remember a hotel in Chennai, which I will not name, had an expatriate Italian chef who was actually not a bad chef.
Yeah. There are always few exceptions to the rule.
He lived in Asia for so long
that
when people asked which part of Italy he was from, I would say Sukhumvit, because he hadn't been back to Italy for that long.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
it's the same. Right now, I was in Thailand, and
Yeah.
one of the hotels where we were catering, all Italian from the GM to the executive chef, etc. And I asked them, where you from? He says, that's a good question because we haven't been back for 35 years. And I said, well, you won't be able to go back either because you've got so used to the comforts and the ease of Asia.
Yeah.
You really think you'll get the same treatment when you go back to Italy? You won't.
Yeah,
So
they have to go and wash their own dishes. Huh?
exactly. So coming back to the cultural center, I think it was more out of necessity that an Indian was cooking more closer to their cuisine than any of the Italians.
Yeah.
In fact, that time the embassy was not very keen to get an Indian in. There was a
Obviously.
big discussion. There were a lot of voting, etc. It didn't happen, and I didn't know anyone. It's not
But
that
basically, it's spitting in the face of every Italian chef in this country. No?
absolutely. But then they were very clever. They said, okay, let's make it a great marketing gimmick because we don't have a choice. We have to get her in because she's the one who's cooking the right risotto and not an over. So, oh, this is our Indo-Italian relationship. That's working. But saying that, it's now 24 years that we've been there. I used to call it my dhaba. It's still my dhaba, but I love that restaurant. I just absolutely love that restaurant because there it is not about any pretenses. It's clean, it's simple, it's value for money. And yes, also once in a while, however hard I'm trying to be modest, ego does need to be fed.
The pastas have always been excellent. No?
Thank you.
Shame
If you
about the
say-
meat, but that's a different one.
Oh, come on. Come on. This is now old story. Come on. I finally learned.
But you
I just sous vide everything now.
another reason not to go.
Sorry.
But you obviously had your audience pegged because I remember that whenever you went, you had the dessert menu and then you had a blackboard and the blackboard said souffle of the day.
Oh no, you're
And
gonna.
no matter which day you went, it was always the same chocolate souffle.
Yeah, because I tried banana souffle, I tried raspberry souffle, I tried everything, and every guest would come back and say, "Can we have the chocolate souffle?" I said, "Why the hell do I even bother with it? If people want chocolate souffle, let's give it." As I said, I'm here to serve and I'm here to please. They didn't want to have my souffle of the day. Fine. There's a chocolate souffle now for 24 and a half years on the menu. And I think it'll be there if we
It's
serve.
also become a very famous chocolate souffle because if you wanted to be nice to a guest or whatever, you offered it complimentary as a dessert. And most people in Delhi in the upper middle
Had
class,
it
their
for free.
idea of a chocolate souffle is what you created.
Yeah, it's not really a chocolate souffle. It's not a French style souffle because the
But it's
thing
not a
is-
French restaurant.
Yeah, it is not. But the thing is, I got into a lot of shit with my younger sister, Mickey, who used to work with me in the restaurant that time.
Yeah.
And she was the person who used to see the costs every month. And she says, "Do you realize we have sold 3 souffles and you have given 200 portions free? It's not going to work." And then she started giving this tiny portions of chocolate torta. There was a revolution. People started getting so upset. They, "Don't give us this chocolate torta. We don't want it. If you are not giving chocolate souffle, we don't." So we are back to giving chocolate souffles to all my regular guests, and I don't give a shit
But
about
that's
it.
one of the lessons of the restaurant business that if you count every penny,
Yes.
it isn't often as important as it is having regular guests who love you because you
I
give them things.
agree. Please tell that to my accounts department. Please tell that to my younger sister. Please tell that to everyone else. Because no one looks at the bigger picture. That chocolate souffle was given with heart. And that's why those people are still coming back 25 years later.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay. Now
not a
let's
bad
move.
investment.
No, absolutely.
Yeah,
And it was good chocolate souffle as
it
well.
wasn't bad.
Yeah. Let's move outside it. You have a restaurant in Bombay as well, right? Still?
Yes.
What's that called?
Motodo.
And that's a pizza place?
It's a pizza place, mainly a pizza place.
And that does well too.
Very well, touch wood.
And you have a restaurant in Milano.
I have a restaurant in Milano, which is in its 10th year now, believe it or not.
So not bad going, right?
No, not bad. Not bad.
And this
Sorry.
and despite the fact that you only pick up relatively untrained people and then give them a chance to succeed, if you look at many of the successful women chefs in India, they've all worked with you.
Some yes. And
Well,
some
Let's
yes.
see. Chubby Cheeks Ice Cream
Yes.
is
Aisha,
yeah. All right. Aku's Burgers.
Akriti,
We already talked about Sienna.
Koyal.
Yeah, I can go on for lot
Yes,
of them.
yes.
You gave women opportunities to do all kinds of food at a time when women didn't have
I
opportunity.
think women are better at it more than men, and also because how to handle people in the stress in kitchen. And I just did it purely out of selfish reasons.
Nonsense. That's
Yeah,
not
it's true. But okay, a lot of people ask me, did you ever have any problems as a woman in the kitchen? Blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. I hate to say, and it's almost sometimes embarrassing for me to say, actually, I did not.
You were always the boss. Why would you have a problem?
Exactly. I was the boss. So I never had that shit with me. But I also know of people who have had seriously, seriously tough time in kitchen. So it is every kitchen's, every restaurant's moral responsibility. Whether it's a man or a woman, it doesn't matter, to be honest with you. You got to give your people a chance and an opportunity. We have been able to retain our people. I think we have one of the longest retention in the industry. I mean, sometimes we have to increase. We used to say we are a young company, 30 should be our benchmark. It's become 40, it's become 50, and now it's going to be close to 60. And the reason why I think they've stayed with us, and without sounding cliched, is if you don't give an opportunity to them, I'm sorry, you're going to be the loser, because they're going to go and find better opportunities. And some of them have found amazing thing. And today, when you say you train people and train them, again, it serves me as well.
Yeah.
Because I'm an untrained chef. And sometimes
word you're looking for, self-taught.
Self-taught. Okay. Self-taught chef, still learning every day, thanks to you. And I needed people who could in some ways understand my language.
Yeah.
Which I couldn't find with people who came from hotels or restaurants, because they already, it has to be chopped in such a way. But I peel like this. I don't know any other way to peel. I still chop like this. I don't know any other way to peel. They have learnt in hotel that you put cream in a risotto. For me, to untrain that mindset is too much hard work. So, believe it or not, the best people I found who were willing to learn, who were hungry, were the dishwashers and the commie threes. And with that training, some of them today are running Italian restaurants in Italy.
Yeah.
Some of them, the Italian Cultural Center, our head chef there for several years, who cooks for 300 Italians every day, used to be a dishwasher.
Yeah.
Akriti was working with Ernst & Young when she came and joined Diva, saying, I want to change a career. I had a lawyer who's now running a restaurant in Bangalore. Aisha came from...
Aisha's the chubby cheeks person.
Yeah. She came from this Naukri.com type of one of these techie sort of a company. But because there was a hunger to learn and no preconceived notion, it served me. I got people who could actually execute what I wanted without me standing in the kitchen, and they got a platform to express themselves. So yes, I'm pretty good at it.
Well, you have a lot to be proud of.
But I have free passes.
For what?
Everyone, I have a deal with them. Free meals for the rest of my life, whether it's Sienna, whether it's Aku's Burger, whether it's Chubby Cheek Ice Cream. I'm very clever. I've got myself sorted. I never need to pay for another meal in my life.
But more seriously, when you started out, there was a model of how kitchens were run. People came from catering college. They were 90% male. The women were treated as jokes because it was assumed they would leave to get married and have children.
Yes.
The ones who stayed on faced a degree of sexism and harassment in the kitchen.
Yes.
Because kitchens in those days were not great places.
No, it still is not.
Yeah. The food they made was never terribly good in those hotels, especially the European food.
Yeah.
Periodically, because the European food was so bad, they would hire an expat Italian or an expat Frenchman, and the food would go worse.
Yes.
So that was one model. The other model was your model, which was you didn't hire from hotels.
Yeah.
You didn't care if people had catering degrees or not. You looked at passion. You looked at people from outside the field. You trained them, and then they grew on to become great chefs.
Yes.
Now, that second model, which was the Ritu Dalmia model, basically, is a model that's not only survived, has flourished. It's the model for many, many of the most famous standalone restaurants we talk about now.
Absolutely. If you look at it, I mean, Chef Manish Mehrotra, for example,
Yeah.
we used to always laugh and joke about it. We used to have someone who would copy things from the menu, even with the wrong spellings or made up names that we would have made up. And my team used to get very upset. And I remember Manish's menu, the kulchas which he made famous. I think he's the father of those mini kulchas with butter chicken. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry was doing it in their restaurants and in their catering. And we used to always laugh and say that, these kids are getting all upset. It's something to take it as a compliment.
Yeah.
That you think that, your dish is good enough to be copied.
Yeah.
And today he is also a man who has trained many people.
Yeah.
If you look at it, whether it's Bombay Canteen, whether it was Indian Accent, whether all of them have produced some excellent young people who have gone and made a career of their own. And this is a very simple fact. You got to learn, or you need to accept, knowledge has to be shared.
Yeah.
And, in the older days, people used to be, oh, the chef's secret ingredient or I'm sorry, that's bullshit. Because if that's the case, then be prepared to work for 17 hours a day, 365 days a year till you turn 45, 50. Either you turn into an alcoholic, or you die of a heart attack, or you commit suicide. There are no other ways. So you have to train people. You have to give them. Otherwise, you're not being true to your... forget about restaurant industry. If you look at other industries also. You've lived in Calcutta for a while. I'm also a Calcutta girl. If you looked at the model of the old Calcutta Marwadi businesses, people who used to work with them, who proved to be loyal or whatever over the years, they would make them open a subsidiary of their business.
Yeah.
Or one of the...
Or give them an agency.
Or give them an agency or whatever. Let them flourish. Let them do amazing things on their own. Become their own boss. And yet maintain some affiliation with the original company. I'm not saying I'm that Marwadi businesswoman, please. So don't misunderstand me. But today, by default, all the people who have come out of Diva, who are doing some amazing things, Diva, non-Diva, today they're part of my catering groups.
Yeah.
When I do events like that, today I know they understand my language, I understand. So at least those teams, I don't need to worry about. I need to worry about the new teams. I need to worry about the entitled 3-star chefs who have a full list of demands. But at least when Sienna's on board, when, someone else like that, Aku's on board, or I don't need to worry about them.
I want to make 2 points. One is the point you made about Indian Accent, Bombay Canteen, all of them creating chefs who now run restaurants. All of them after Diva, by the way, is fine and fair. But I don't think anyone has done as much for women chefs as you have. If you look at the chefs who come out of there, they're not women.
I owe it to my sex, darling.
To your gender, yeah.
To my gender, sex, whatever you may want to call it. But yes.
We'll come to that.
Yeah.
The second thing...
I'm sorry.
Second thing, I think, which you're saying is, yes, they all learned while they were at Diva. But you learned too.
Of course.
You'd never had this kind of experience. You would completely in uncharted territory, and yet you did so well. So what did you learn during this period?
Still learn every day.
So what have you learned? Tell me what you learned.
So I'll tell you, one of my best lessons, which I tell everyone, what I've learned in restaurants is never overspend. Never overspend on your front of the house.
Okay.
Spend what you need in your kitchen and be prepared to only invest that much that you're willing to lose.
Okay.
If restaurants, let's face it, I've had, you talk about my successes. You don't talk about my failures.
Which were your failures?
Oh, several. Like I said, Mezzaluna was one.
That we talked about.
That we started with. After Diva opened, I opened a food court. The first food court in Delhi at...
That's right.
Darling, many more. I opened a cafe at this City Fort, Arts Cafe, in 2003. That's what I'm saying. So I've had many successes, but I think I've had more failures than successes. And if Piccola in Hoskas village, the pizzeria...
That was too small to make money.
No, it wasn't about money. I closed because there was a fire. There was a fire in Hoskas.
But it was also a very small restaurant.
Yeah, it was a 35. But still, every restaurant, it costs some money to put in. And as I said, one thing I'm very clear, only invest the money I can afford to lose. Because restaurant, the main capital that you put in is not your pain point. The pain point is the monthly salary, monthly rents, electricity, water, and it's the working capital that destroys you.
Yeah,
So
not the profitability.
not the profitability. So, and today again talking about COVID, which is a very boring subject now, but the reality is today Diva is back to being a debt-free company to what it was, because at that point we realize if we don't shut XYZ, they will eat up whatever capital we have. It may take us 5 years more to become 13 from we became 5 restaurants that time. But today I'm back at the strength. I paid everyone's salary on the day it was supposed to, because at least my conscience was clear. So
one of the restaurants you closed because of COVID was actually one of my favorites of yours.
Cafe Diva.
Which was Cafe Diva.
It still breaks my heart.
Yeah,
It
was
still
such a
breaks
wonderful restaurant.
And my highest profitable restaurant. But unfortunately, our landlord was a little bit greedy and
apparently he refused to reduce the rent during COVID.
Yeah, exactly. And he was empty for 3 years after that. So it was, and every other landlord of ours, they were so kind. They were so, and today, whether it's Latitude, whether it is Italian Cultural Center, whether it's Diva GK2. So it was a decision. It was a very hard decision to that, okay, the emotion part has to be aside. Otherwise, it'll drown every other restaurant with it.
But you can still reopen it. Yeah. I don't know why you haven't.
I will. Who knows?
Yeah.
It's a matter of time.
With that same wonderful atmosphere, that design stolen from Caprice. It was really nice.
Oh, not from Caprice. Was it Ivy?
It was Caprice.
Yeah, the black
Diva
and white.
Irinka designs and the black and white David Bailey.
Can I tell you, all those photographs were taken by Monica Narula of NDTV.
Okay. Who was my producer.
Who was
your producer.
And yes, and I stole all the pictures from her. And I said, okay, they're all going on Cafe Diva because I'm too cheap to spend money on photographs.
So she'll give you more pictures open and you want,
Absolutely. No? Who knows? Who knows? I still have it in me.
I'll show you too. We've talked a lot about how brave you were in starting the restaurant, Ami, but there's another area of bravery. I don't normally touch on people's personal lives, but you've brought this into the public domain, so I'll talk about it. You were one of the first people at the forefront of the campaign to give gay people their rights. Tell me how you did that, why you did that, and what the response has been.
So, if I had my way at that time, I don't think I would have put my name to the petition.
Tell us what the petition was.
So, the petition was to strike down this law called 377, which makes homosexual people or homosexuality a crime, a criminal act, with the maximum sentence being life imprisonment without bail. And the funny part is actually that law was misread in many ways, because the same law actually applied to pedophiles and the same law applied to prostitution. And if you go into that law deeply, I don't know what position is your favorite, but anyone who had any sex apart from missionary position came under this law.
It was considered unnatural sex.
Unnatural sex. The thing is, I've lived openly as a gay woman, as a lesbian for many years. I don't talk about it. I never went out with a t-shirt saying I'm a lesbian. But my family knew, my friends knew. It was never something that I hid.
Yeah.
And I hate to say it, when you come from a certain privileged background, and I'm not talking about privilege just not in terms of money, but let's say you are in that so-called educated or the upper middle, no one touches you.
Yeah.
So it's not that my life was hell. It's not that I was getting affected by it. I was living a very happy, normal life. And my partner, my wife, who's now my wife, Michaela, you've met her. She was having this discussion with Menika Guruswami and Saurabh Kripal, who are dear friends. And she said, what's the problem in this country? That you people are sitting and complaining and moaning and bitching about how bad the law is, Ritu, but the people whose voice could matter do fuck all about it. And that really was below the belt in the sense. So I think I really signed up, or without even thinking. It was that 1 minute to another that, okay, I'll sign up for it because I needed to save my face more than anything else. And then you started hearing all the horror stories, Veer, about people, girls who were actually, who committed suicide because the families were so. And you realize that, hang on, you may not get affected, but everyone else around you were getting affected. 5 years, pure horror. It was the next 4 years, actually. It was pure horror. Trolling, called all sorts of names on Twitter. Companies suddenly started questioning that, okay, by declaring yourself a homosexual, you are actually declaring to a crime. What will it have as an impact on you being a director in the company? Because directors cannot have criminal. All sorts of shit opened up with it. But the day on 6th of August when we won the petition, where actually we didn't achieve like everything, but at least it was decriminalized.
Yeah.
I think that for me was the day I think I was sent to this earth for.
Really?
That is, if you ask me what is my biggest achievement that I'm very proud of, it's not the restaurants. I am very proud of them. But to have the courage to go through that and see through that, I think is the biggest achievement. Because, as I said, okay, they're not same rights. They're still, and maybe I won't even see it in my lifetime. I don't care. There are enough young people now who can do this. But to have it at least decriminalized was something I'm super proud of. And after that, the amount of mails that I got, messages that I got from young people who finally had the courage to face their parents. Because don't forget one thing, homosexuality is toughest on oneself. It's not the society, it's the person themselves who struggle with it. That, is it correct? Is something wrong with me? What the hell is happening? And when the law is also not on your side and it says, hang on, you're a criminal, you start questioning everything that you're going through. So I think it was a beginning. Where it will end, I don't know. But yay.
Did you ever have second thoughts having come out so publicly?
I did, because I want to be known for my mediocre food, not for who I sleep with. But I think it was necessary at that time. I think it was what was known. You've known me for so many years. You've always known about my sexuality. You've always, it was nothing that was hidden. But as I said, why the hell should I announce it from the top of the roof? Because it's no one's business. My pasta cooking doesn't really depend on who I've kissed that evening, But it was needed. And I think it was a brave decision. And thank God I had the courage to go through it. Could I do it again? I'm not sure.
I think you probably could. You probably could. I remember that when you came out, Condé Nast, which is when they did the restaurant awards, asked me to award a prize to you for having stood up.
Yes.
And you saw the applause, and you saw the way people responded.
Yes. It was amazing. It's amazing. What's funny is after that I was asked to speak, and now the thing is, people don't ask me to speak about food anymore. They ask me to go to schools and talk to parents on how to deal with their kids who are, who may be sexually still finding themselves, talk to teachers. And I said, fuck yeah, I mean, this is what my life has become, which is great.
But I've been there when young people have been sent to you to counsel, to talk to. So you do that a lot, no?
I do, but honestly, I mean, I should get an honorary degree in psychology for it. Then, I mean, it's great. It's fabulous. But as I said, was coming out publicly my first choice? No. Not because I'm ashamed of it. As I said, I came out to my parents when I was 23, and that's the most important people that I needed to come out to more than anyone. But as I said, my sex life or my personal life was no one's business per se. I've made it everyone else's business. It's okay. That's a price to pay for what we achieved, and it's worth it.
And it's worth it not just for you, who, as you said, have lived a reasonably adequate and okay life. There are many people who really suffer because of this primitive and bizarre law. No?
Not only that, also it was giving the cops so much power.
Yeah.
That people were being beaten up, abused. Anyone could file a complaint. If I filed an FIR against you, irrespective of what is the truth or whether there's evidence, it was a law that they had to arrest you.
Yeah.
So it just became an amazing way to harass people
And make money.
Yeah. I remember there's a friend of mine, I won't name his, a very famous designer. His accountant was stealing money from the company. And when he said, okay, I think you need to leave, he says, sir, think twice about it. All I need to do is file an FIR against you.
But that's crazy, no?
Yeah. That's what the law was.
While you'd had a very successful career, there was nothing in your record to suggest that you would go public because you were essentially a very private person.
I've always been, yes.
Yes. It was it just as you say, a conversation with Saurabh Kripaal and Menaka Guruswamy. It was just that.
I'm an idiot
suddenly changed
Impulsive. 1 minute to another decision. बस करना है. अब उसके बाद देखेंगे.
Well, it's a good decision.
I'm
glad you did it.
Some are good, some are also very bad. But
what was the reaction from your guests and customers?
Very positive.
Yeah.
Very, very positive. And I said, I had guests coming and saying, can you speak to my son or can you speak to my daughter, or kids who used to be coming to Diva and saying, can you please have a chat with my parents? In fact, another very dear guest of ours who's been coming for years now, and he had a big problem accepting his son's sexuality. And I was forced to go and speak with him, talk to him about that you better get a little real about it. And next thing we know is that he threw an engagement party for his son and his fiance. So, some good coming. And I'm hoping a new avenue of business will open.
In what way?
Wonderful gay marriages, my dear boy. The preferred caterer, Diva, of course.
Nearly happened, but didn't quite. No, the legalization.
Yes. I don't know. It's too complicated. And honestly, with the situation that the world is in right now, everyone is taking 5 steps backwards. So better we take a step slowly, but for good, whenever it happens.
And you've been married to Ella for how long? You got married abroad because it wasn't...
Yes, we got married in South Africa in 2024. So 1.5 years. And honestly, again, this marriage...
But you'd been together so long before, so it was more symbolic.
It was. Basically, it was my fuck you middle finger, showing a middle finger, because you won't let me marry here. Your natural treasure, your national jewelry, tumhari Bharat ki, one of the main thing, she has to go outside the country to get married. It was, again, as I said, symbolic more than anything. It doesn't change my life. Anyway, not that... Okay, my life changes a little bit. Sorry, I apologize. Why? Because she can register this marriage in Germany. So everything that she has, I can get. Everything I have, she cannot get for the moment. So I'm a winner here also. But yes, it was really symbolic.
You'd been together for years before. Yes. And I know her well, obviously. But she's a remarkable woman and she's imposed some order on your life.
Oh, I would say it's the other way around. I have trained her very well now. Right. She has forgotten her Germanness. Now she doesn't say, if you say, okay, I've had enough wine. Earlier she said, okay, and go to the next person. Now she's learned, no, have a sip more. Have a bite more. So I have to, no, but yes.
But she's also curbed your financial extravagances. Yes. I remember she stopped you from taking taxis to work in Milan, saying, why can't you take public transport?
I still refuse
and eventually bought you a bicycle, isn't it?
Yes, a tricycle. I can't ride a bicycle.
Really?
Yes.
Can you ride a Vespa?
No.
Then yet... When you did this television show called Traveling
it was all
Diva,
fake.
you were on a Vespa.
So you weren't really
on a Vespa. What were you on?
It was a Beretta, a broken one. All the thing uska side mein, then they had to put a brick underneath so I wouldn't fall under the thing.
It was all special effects.
All special effects. I got it very early in my life, my dear boy. I can't drive a car, I can't drive a bicycle, and I definitely cannot drive a scooter.
But you can swim.
I can swim, and how?
That's a good thing.
Yes.
But I remember seeing that show, and we haven't talked much about your television career, but there was Italian Khana.
Yes.
Then there was Traveling Diva.
Yes.
And then there were some crap shows which
Yeah,
we
yeah,
won't
forget
talk
about
about.
it. Yeah.
But I remember Traveling Diva. You went through Italy
Yeah.
because this was
Yes.
NDTV on a shoestring budget.
Yes.
But you managed to do everything and you produced a really nice show. I
Well,
remember.
as you said, NTV was in a shoestring budget.
Yeah.
So I was calling every cheese supplier of mine, every wine supplier of mine. We have no money. Can we come and shoot at your place? And if you're feeling generous enough, will you give us a room to stay overnight?
Oh, really? They made you do that?
Yes. Then no flight tickets. So car was hired. And of course, I can't drive. So Monica,
And this is Monica Narula, who used to be
Monica
my producer.
Narula, yes. And Jalaj, who was
the camera guy.
Yeah, they had to take turns driving 3,600 kilometers in one trip.
Wow.
Okay.
And you sat at the back like a himself?
No, I sat in the front just thinking I'm going to die any second because they were driving on the wrong side of the road. I've never heard so much honking ever in Europe as it was done. And Jalaj had excess luggage of 45 kilos
because of his camera equipment.
No, darling. It was cup of noodles.
Don't be silly.
Okay, I swear he was going to shoot in Italy where he's allergic to cheese and to eggs.
Oh,
So yes, excess luggage, I got to know later, was all cup of noodle bags, which every night he used to say,
Why
there's
cup
no...
of noodles? Why not say bhujia or something?
I'm sure there was that also. I know cup of noodles only because he says there's no kettle in my room knocking my... So I said, what the fuck am I supposed to do? Go to the reception and get a thing. So it was hilarious. It was fabulous. And I think for amateur that I was and I still am, we had a blast. It was
it was a very good show. You were very good on camera.
What to do? Natural talent,
Yeah,
my dear boy. Some guys are just blessed with it.
There was a less good book that came out of it also, no?
Oh, come on. The book was first. The book was first. The show was later. And can I tell you, I have young kids who have written to me that they've tried every recipe in that book and every recipe work just because you didn't think so much of it. I mean...
Were they mainly pasta recipes?
I think time over, cut, done. We are done for the day.
But now that we're talking about Italian food, why was Italian food in India so bad when you opened Diva?
Exposure.
Yeah.
And lack of ingredients. I think both played a role, equal role. Why Italian food? Also, don't forget, Italian food and Indian, in a way, they're very similar.
Yeah.
Okay? We Indians, after 3 days of pasta, we need our desi khana. And it's the same with Italian. So any culture which has a very rich cuisine, they're a little bit slow in accepting other food. Today, forget about anything else. Forget Italian. If you look at any cuisine, even in India, you may have the fanciest of Japanese, you may have the fanciest of Italian. But which are the most successful restaurants in India? It'll always be Indian, in whatever form. Because
that's not unusual. What are the most successful restaurants in Italy?
Of course.
Yeah.
So that's my point.
Or France, yeah. Anywhere with a strong cuisine.
That cuisine will always be number one. So Italian...
Maybe not in Britain where they have no cuisine, but
Correct.
everywhere else.
But they have embraced every cuisine.
That's
so
right.
hats off to them.
Yeah.
You know, so number one, there wasn't a market big enough. Secondly, people were not so well traveled.
Yeah.
Or even if they did, it was a pink pasta, as you correctly said, olio alio, or a pizza with extra chilies on the side. So
and crab pizza was there.
And crab pizza, Rome street side, which are meant for no self-respecting Italian would ever eat there. If you're going to Rome, I would recommend you don't do that either, but never mind.
I'm going to Napoli also, so you needn't
oh
worry.
My
so you
God.
needn't worry.
Oh yes, all right, okay. Forgiven. So there was no exposure. So people didn't dare to open a restaurant which would serve a pasta, let's say with Nerano, with zucchini, just crisp zucchini and parmesan, no sauce, nothing. They would slap it back on your thing and they would tell me, people would come and say, gnocchi, this is not gnocchi. And I would say, sir, this is a gnocchi. And they, no, this is not. So it was both. And what has changed in India in last 26 years is Indians are traveling like how? The younger people have a lot more spending money with them. And now they don't talk about Italian food. They talk about a Puglian stracciatella. Yeah. Or they will talk about a Roman pizza instead of a Napolitan. So there's a lot more exposure that's come. Imports has become easier, then became tough again. Now it's a shit show again. So I think it's also time. It's evolving with
But
time.
that takes me to my next question. If that was true, there would be many great Italian restaurants in India. But I go to Bombay and there's Americano, which is
Yes.
outstanding.
Yeah, I love it.
I come to Delhi and there's you. And then I think it kind of ends, no?
Yeah, but I don't think the market is still big enough for more. As I said,
2 restaurants? I mean, the
two,
rest of it
three,
is still
four,
doing
five.
red sauce pasta.
No. So again, you
Where,
see,
if you wanted to eat Italian in Bombay and didn't want to go near
Americano.
okay, except
I
for
wouldn't go anywhere else.
okay. If you didn't want to eat at your own restaurant in Delhi,
I
where
would cook myself. There is
okay.
none.
If you went to Calcutta and wanted to go to an Italian
There
restaurant,
is
where
none.
would you go?
There are none.
Yeah, so that's my point. That we keep saying that Indians will naturally graduate to Italian food. They've traveled, the ingredients are available. No, they still eat the same old crap, no?
Yeah, but again, coming back to my point, that all cuisines will always take a secondary thing. So if I was, let's say, if I had to open a restaurant now, if I would not open another Italian restaurant if I had to open
What would you
from
open?
a money point of view,
What you opened in Bombay is Italian.
because there was a space in that market for it. Is there a space for yet another one of that? No, there's not. I don't think so. What would I open? I want a sure shot. Has to be an Indian restaurant. End of story. If I could do a Chinese restaurant, I would open a great Chinese restaurant. End of story.
You did actually open an Asian restaurant, which is very
I
successful.
did. Yeah. But again, COVID happened.
COVID, yeah. So you
Yeah.
can't do it. It's not that you
I
don't
know,
have to.
but what I'm trying to say is those are the places that still, so people would still be like French food. No one should ever open a French restaurant in India. It'll never work.
Is there a single French restaurant?
I
Do you
don't
think?
know. There's a modern French in terms of, I won't even call it French.
Where?
But I would say Tres is modern European, which does very,
Dress
very
is very
well.
little French food, a lot
Yeah.
of Spanish
Yeah,
and stuff
correct.
like that.
So what I'm saying, actually none.
No, it's
And
not a
it will
single
not
French
work. It'll not work. Do you remember many years ago there used to be this French restaurant at Taj? Was it the Taj?
What? Zodiac Grill? Rendezvous?
I think it was Rendezvous.
Yeah,
And in Delhi, they had this Italian called Casa Medici.
correct.
And you had in Oberoi, Miranda or something like that, by the poolside, the Italian restaurant. La Miranda or something like that.
I know the one you mean. It was a Mediterranean restaurant.
They
So
call-
they had Mediterranean
Yeah.
food from all
if you
over.
saw, none of
And
them
it was
worked.
not called Miranda,
Yeah,
but
I
I forgot.
can't remember. I've got,
Yeah.
as my nephew nieces says, you've got brain fog. None of them worked.
Esmeralda?
Esmeralda, bravo. See,
I got it
you
before you.
also got brain fog. That's why
Yeah,
you didn't
I
get it.
got it.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
didn't
you
get
got.
it.
Okay, well done, well done.
Yeah.
But none of them worked. Why
Yeah.
did they not work? Because, as I said, there was no market for it. Even now, if you see, you hear about. We talked about what? We talked about Bombay Canteen in the show.
Yeah.
We talked about Indian accent. We talked about Chef Manish. We talked about Sienna. We talked about Pratik. We talked about many. And if you look at them, where are they all? Where is it? Because those are the restaurants, that's the cuisine, which at the end of the day will always be the number one. So if I was a businesswoman or if I was a restaurateur, I say, okay, I want to open a restaurant, which is my most sure shot bet. Has to be one or the other form of Indian.
Okay. All right. Let's take that aside.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about catering. Do restaurants really need to do catering? Do they need that revenue stream?
If they know how to do it, it's really a nice top up to their business. And the good part is restaurants actually have very high fixed costs, which may be not there 25 years ago when rentals, etc., used to be a lot more reasonable. But today, if you want to ensure that your restaurant's life or costs are somewhat subsidized, the best option is catering. It is. I mean,
And
honest.
pop-ups too.
And pop-ups as well. But how many pop-ups can you do?
But
And
like,
how
let's
many
take the
peop-
example of Nar,
Yeah.
which I've never been to on the grounds in
Yeah.
the middle of nowhere. But I don't need to go because Pratik is always doing pop-ups
Absolutely.
and his delicious food can be
And-
eaten anywhere.
And he does his delicious food at my catering. So I also don't need to go to Nar and Pratik.
Oh, really?
Yes. And Pratik is a prime example. I mean, I laughed with him the other day. I met him in Bangkok for an event a couple of months ago. And I remember a year ago, he used to say, I'll never do catering. Most of the chefs, including Bombay Canteen, when they started catering, when they said, we don't know how to cater, we will not do it. And now, There's this, Pratik is opening a completely separate catering division. Bombay Canteen
What
already.
part of Nar or
Apart from Nar. But Nar's food, but basically
Yeah.
creating an infrastructure. Because, number one, it's great fun. Okay.
Catering is great fun?
Yes, it is. I'll tell you why it is great fun and why I love it. When you are curating a menu for an event per se, I have met some of the nicest chefs. I have worked with such amazing talents, and I have made them do something that they don't do at their restaurant to ensure they can execute it for the same
catering.
format in a catering. And if you ask me, my exposure to world chefs today has not been NDTV shows, has not been my travel per se, as much as it has been my caterings. Because there,
Okay, now this,
yeah,
I'm going to stop you because there's two levels of catering.
yes,
One is some rich person, because it has to be rich by definition to afford you in Delhi, has a dinner party and wants you to come and do food for 12
Yes,
people.
yes,
That's one level.
yes,
You go and do pop up somewhere in another city. That's another level.
yes.
But the big money is in what you specialize
Not
in.
true.
How
Not
much
in
do you make from the average wedding?
I'm not telling you that.
There you are. So
Yeah.
if
So,
it was a
but-
small amount, you would tell me.
No, but sorry, my business is just not the big wedding of catering. So let me tell you, I will not say no to a catering of 10 people
Yeah.
at home. I will not say no to a 50 people. And I will not say no to 1,000 people.
See,
all three are different levels.
Agreed,
Okay?
agreed. But a catering that you will do for 10 people will be the Diva team will come and cook.
Yes.
A catering you will do for 1,000 people in
Yes.
Florence will involve many other chefs.
Correct.
And you will then become the impresario,
Absolutely.
not just the chef.
Absolutely.
So people who want to know how do they get into this wedding catering business,
Depends
it's
which
basically
level. Which level?
your level, which is the top level. It's difficult to break into, no?
So I'll tell you, for that you need to travel non-stop for 20 years.
Okay.
Okay. You need to go form relation and also judge. You may have amazing Michelin star chefs all around the world. But let me tell you, 95% don't know how to cater. And they fuck
Really?
it up big time.
They find out big time.
Yes. And I've had that. So you also need to make sure that you get in chefs who can actually perform, number one, under pressure. Number two, with minimal ingredients, equipments. And number three, to create the same experience that they do at their restaurant for 30 people, for 1,000 people in an event. And there are very few chefs who can do that.
But listen, I've seen
Yeah.
at your events,
Yes.
all the great 3-star chefs of the world.
They are very well trained by me.
Da Vittorio is just one example.
Yes.
Calandra,
Mauro.
which is 3 stars.
Yes.
Mauro, who is 3 stars at
Yes.
Mirazur.
Yes.
I mean, all the top
And
chefs.
all of them have fucked up in their first events. Let me tell you, Chef Viviana Varese,
Yeah.
who is my strongest catering partner
Yeah.
of not the 3-star level.
She was a Michelin star restaurant.
Yes, but first event she did for me, she thought she was doing service in a restaurant and she was making risotto alla minute for 1,000 people. And the queue was so long that I had to push her aside and get the risotto done half and finish it there. Otherwise, we couldn't have served it. Same with Mauro. The first event actually.
This is Mauro Colagreco, yeah?
Yes, who I adore
The
and
world's
love.
best restaurant, Mirazur, yeah?
And he's done several events with me. His first big event was also with me way back in 2009 or 10 it was. That time he was 1 star and
Okay.
I could afford him a lot more than I can afford him now. And also, it was very difficult to get through him. So they've learnt and adapted. But there are many chefs who I cannot name, who we have tried once, twice, 3, and they cannot do it. So people who want to get into catering, number one, have an open mind.
Okay.
Make sure you don't have ego that big that I can do everything and I can do everything well, because you cannot. Okay, you are, let's say, a Bombay Canteen. Do your food that you're good at. O Pedro, Bombay Canteen. But if you think you're going to be able to do South Indian as well, you'll be able to do Marwadi Mithai as well, you're going to be able to, you cannot do it. So leave your ego aside and put in a team together, because the whole idea is you are selling food and you're selling an experience. Every meal has to have a little more factor than the other. And you don't need a big setup for it. For catering, doing caterings of that level, what you need is a core team who are very good with organization, operations and planning. So I'll give you a simple example. I always tell all the young kids who come in the catering, the edge I got over other people in the catering was most of the caterers who started doing, there are many who are doing overseas catering. Many of them are banned from several hotels now
Why?
because they think they're working in a kitchen in Delhi where the Maharajas can sit on the floor, peel the potato, and throw it on the side. No cleaning after them, leaving the place, tables are burnt, oil is choked up. I remember once I had a group of chefs who stayed in a hotel. I'm sorry, I'm going to be gross. They thought bidet was a toilet.
Okay, all right, let's
Okay.
let's move on.
So
Yeah,
whole hotels.
yeah, let's move on.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my point is, you got to understand international laws and you got to work as per their laws.
Yeah.
You need to, when international teams come
No,
to
but
us in
see-
India.
See, I can understand this about Indian chefs, but I have talked to many of the world's
Yeah.
greatest chefs,
Yes.
and the only Indian they know is Ritu Dalmia.
Correct.
Because you've given them business.
I've
It's
not only
usually
given.
Italians, and you say, "Do you know Ritu Dalmia?" They say no. Then you say, "No, but you did." Say, Ritu. That's
Okay.
why-
No, but there's a reason for it because if I'm bringing in a 3-star chef and I cannot give him the equipments, the ingredients, the hygiene of kitchen, then I'm doing a great disservice to the
Just
money that I'm paying him because he'll never be able to, provide what he's supposed to provide. And also he will never work with me again.
Yeah.
So I think it's a both-way traffic.
But listen, all these chefs cost a lot of money.
Yes.
Now we hear stories about Indian weddings abroad which spend hundreds of millions of dollars on the wedding. That's accurate.
Sort of.
Really, is that much money in it?
No,
And
I
according
mean,
to
there's
you
not money. I'm not talking about just the food part.
No, I'm
but
saying the whole wedding costing about.
Yeah.
So do they really spend those
they
hundreds?
do.
Of,
They do.
No waste. Not for you,
I
obviously,
can't
Siraj, but
say that.
okay, all right.
I got married with 3 people. Does that say everything I want to say about this topic?
No, just says you wouldn't invite your friends, but that's all right.
Oh, come on. It's just
Yeah.
when you see it
You
all
call
the
them
time.
when you come back and say, "Hey, we got married."
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. I'm asking about Italy and the "Hey Ritu" thing because you've been very successful in Italy. You say you should open an Indian restaurant because that's what you do, but you have. You've had for the last 10 years
Yes.
Samani in Milano, which is a
Yes.
brilliantly successful restaurant
Yes.
with actually has very good food. No?
Actually, it does. If I so. So I've just come back from Milan
Yeah.
this morning and we were there for Design Week. And one of the dinners that happened, my God, I'm sorry if I'm going to sound vain. Everyone was from Delhi. Everyone I would have avoided per se. First. And they said, why don't you open a Chittamani in Delhi? Because this food is better than any.
Which is, I mean, I've eaten there several
Yeah.
times, so that's accurate.
It's nice. It's good. It's value for money. It's simple food, not trying to be anything that it's
but
not.
very good flavors. Huh?
Yeah.
Very strong, deep
Honest,
flavors.
yes, good.
So you
Marwari.
can do Indian food.
Of course I can. I'm a
You
genius.
just won't do it.
I am. I can't help
Let's-
it.
Let's
Okay,
not get carried
okay,
away and
yeah.
go
Okay,
back to the
so-
chocolate souffle. But
so
it's-
Italian food
Yeah.
is my love, always has been. But I've realized Indian food is a lot more challenging.
of course.
And for me, I had reached a stage in my life where I was bored. And I think opening Chittamani and going back to, don't forget, Mama was Indian. So
Yes.
my early career, it's not that it was my
That's right.
first rodeo with Indian
And
food.
Vama was very successful in
Very,
London
yes.
till you sold out.
Yeah. Good time for
Yeah.
everything. So Indian food has let me, it's like playing Scrabble or Sudoku. It's, it made me think again. It made me fall in love with my work again. So Chittamani, again, everyone said I'm an idiot to open a restaurant in Milan. Why would I open an Indian restaurant in Milan, which like India, where the first love always be Indian. But the thing is, again, I'm a coward. I didn't want to go to a city like New York or London, which is super competitive, definitely a lot more, accolades you would get there, a lot more recognition. But I didn't want to be one of the 500. I wanted to
fair
be in a city.
Also, you
where-
had been one of the 500. You
Yes.
already done London.
Yeah, so I wanted to be the first. And thankfully, I'm still lucky that Chittamani is still in that first 3-4 restaurants across Italy
Yeah.
and number 1 in Italy till someone else takes the plunge. And It's fabulous. It's really, you've been there, so I can't say it. But when I'm in Chitamani, honestly, I feel, yeah, this is what an Indian restaurant should be, with kachori and sabzi, okay, with fafda and jalebi, okay, with, I'm sorry, you're looking at me with that scone. I will.
Yeah, how much are you going to boast? I think.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You started. Remember how the whole conversation.
I'm not even interrupting you, but you're boasting because you're right.
No,
you're right. It is fabulous.
It's amazing. I don't need to serve butter chicken. Come on, when I can do a Calcutta railway cutlet, chicken cutlet. Yeah. So.
In fact, you live now in a place which is full of restaurants. You live in Goa, right?
Yes. Thank God. Thank God.
You like Goa?
I love Goa. I've always, and honestly...
You go to all the restaurants? Because every day some man or his dog is opening a new restaurant.
I know, and I don't think it's a right decision. I will never open a restaurant in Goa ever.
Why?
Because COVID time, people didn't have travel options. So the whole country went to Goa. Okay, flight prices became... And everyone thought this is a land of golden opportunity. This is a place to open restaurants. Don't forget, it's cheaper to go to Bangkok than to go to Goa. You get far better infrastructure, far better restaurants than even Goa. So why should one go to Goa? So the people who live in Goa, like let's say someone like me, people have nice homes, they have big homes. They like to entertain at home and they will go out maybe once or twice in a month to eat out. Rest of the tourists that's coming in, I hate to say, are people who are still looking for their South Indian breakfast or their North Indian meals. And Goa restaurants, what are opening are not these North Indian restaurants. They're young chefs who, this generation has an issue. Their priorities are very different, that we need to lead a chilled life, easy life. So they all have come to Goa thinking they're going to get instant nirvana with their life. And very talented chefs, Vir. Let me tell you, today I think Goa is the talent hub for chefs in India today. Not Bombay, not Delhi. It's actually Goa. But does it have a longevity? I hope for their sake, but it's not a very bright.
No?
No.
I came to Goa and you had to recommend 5 restaurants to me. What would you recommend?
Okay, so my favorite, so for a drink and small plates, I would go to Slow Tide.
Yeah, I've been there. It's good.
Mr. Merchant is my new favorite.
I've heard many good things.
Oh, it's amazing. Rahul is brilliant. That's my neighborhood place. So that's something I really, really love. For junk food and nice cocktails, I would go to Bar Cold Drinks.
Okay, which I have never been to.
It's a real hole in the wall, but it's spectacular. Avos, very, very good.
Okay, I've heard of that.
Izumi, Goa for me is better than Izumi,
I
Bombay.
agree with you. I agree with you.
So that's where I would go for. Avos is for great Goan food. Really very good. And I love Tamil Table.
Okay.
So these are the places I would go to. But I would recommend you come to my home and eat, because that really does the best meal.
I've come to your home and eaten.
No, I didn't give you any khana that night.
You did?
Did I?
You did. I mean,
I think I must
obviously, it was quite forgettable for you.
Yeah,
but it was
totally.
Nice.
Must have been last minute.
But it was actually very nice.
Okay.
So, Ritu Dalmia, I think we've covered pretty much everything, right?
Oh, is there ever enough time to cover everything?
But as much as we could. So thank you for flying back.
Veer.
Thank you for flying back to do this show. Thank you for landing at 3 a.m. and coming here and fighting your jet lag.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'm really, really touched, and thank you.
Anything for you, Vir.
Anything
for you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's really a pleasure. There's the bottle of Tignanello now.
There's champagne, is it?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay. As long as you're buying.
All right, I have, yeah.
Thank you, Vir. Thank you
so much.